Let's make one thing clear. Detachment isn't about playing games. It's not about pretending you don't care when you do. It's not about ignoring messages for hours to make someone worry. And it's definitely not about acting like love doesn't matter to you. Detachment is about power. It's a shift in focus. It's the ability to stand your ground no matter what's going on around you. Too many women fall into the trap of believing that the more they give, the more they prove their value. If I just love him more, if I just show him how much I care, if I just show him how great we are together, he won't pull away. But here's the tough truth. When you operate from that mindset, when you cling, when you overinvest, you're attached to an outcome. People can sense it when you're waiting on their message, when your mood depends on their attention, when your entire emotional state is wrapped up in them. And that energy, it doesn't inspire love. It smothers it. But a woman who is detached, she's different. She's magnetic not because she doesn't care, but because she doesn't seek external validation to feel whole. She moves through life with a quiet confidence, knowing her worth no matter what. And that's irresistible. Now let's talk about what detachment actually looks like. It means you don't need constant reassurance to feel secure. You're not waiting by the phone, overthinking his words, or trying to make yourself enough. You already are enough, and you know that. If someone can't see that, it's their loss, not yours. It means you don't chase, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you are hard to get. You're selective with your energy. You're not available for inconsistency, breadcrumbs, or half-hearted effort. If someone wants to be in your life, they need to earn that place. It means you don't give too much. Too many women pour themselves into people who haven't even shown up for them. They invest too much too soon, hoping to be chosen. But when you detach, you stop giving out love like it's a bribe. You let people prove they deserve your time and attention before you hand it over. And most importantly, it means you stop tying your happiness to someone else's action. A man not texting back doesn't define your worth. A man pulling away doesn't mean you did something wrong. A relationship ending doesn't mean you failed. When you're detached, you realize that your emotions are yours to control. You don't let someone else's behavior decide how you feel about yourself. But listen, detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you become cold or emotionally unavailable. It means you love with an open hand instead of a clenched fist. It means you allow things to flow instead of trying to force them. It means you understand that what's meant for you will stay, and what isn't, you're willing to let go of. And here's the beautiful part. When you detach, you don't lose love. You invite better love. You attract people who respect your boundaries, who value your presence, who rise to meet your energy instead of draining it. You create space for love that doesn't require you to chase, beg, or prove. The kind of love that feels like home, not a battlefield. So the next time you feel yourself gripping too tightly, whether it's a relationship, an outcome, or a person who isn't meeting you halfway, pause, breathe, and remind yourself you don't need to control this to be okay. You don't need to force anything that's truly meant for you, because a woman who is detached, she is powerful, she is free, and men can't resist her. Let's talk about energy, because it speaks before you do. It enters the room before you even say a word. It's the thing people feel about you before they know you. And when it comes to relationships, your energy is either pulling someone in or pushing them away. Whether you realize it or not, you've probably experienced this. You've met someone who didn't even have to say much, but there was something about them, something that made them intriguing, something that made you pay attention. And on the flip side, you've probably also met someone whose energy felt off. Maybe they were too eager, too anxious, or trying too hard, and it made you feel uneasy. This is why energy is everything. You can say all the right things, wear all the right clothes, and follow all the right rules, but if your energy is screaming insecurity, desperation, or fear, that's what people will pick up on. And when you interact with men, this matters even more, because attraction isn't just about what's being said, it's about what's felt. Think about when you're waiting for a text back. If your energy is calm, grounded, and detached, It's easy to wait. You send the message and go about your day because you're not tying your worth to the response. But if your energy is needy, anxious, or overinvested, the waiting, the emotional roller coaster of why hasn't he replied yet, or did I say something wrong, or maybe if I double text he'll answer, that energy doesn't stay inside you, it translates into your actions. It makes you react instead of receive. It makes you overcompensate, overexplain, or overgive, and that's when things start to unravel, because here's what most women don't realize. The second your energy shifts into needing someone to validate you, the dynamic changes. You stop being the woman he was drawn to in the first place, the one who was effortlessly herself, the one who knew she was enough. Instead, you become someone who is seeking something from him, and men sense that shift. They may not be able to put it into words, but they feel it. They sense when you're looking to them for approval, when you're waiting on their next move to decide how you feel about yourself, when your happiness is tied to their responses. And that energy, and if you feel like the energy is magnetic, it's from a place of attraction. It's the opposite of attraction. On the other hand, when a woman is centered, when she is in control, on the other hand, when a woman is centered, when she is in control, she's not worried about whether he texts or not because she's busy. She's not overanalyzing every detail because she's secure in herself. She's not waiting, she's living. And that energy, that's what men can't resist. Because here's something you need to know. People don't fall for words, they fall for how you make them feel. And when you're radiating confidence, self-respect, and ease, it changes the way you move, the way you communicate, the way you show up in every interaction. You don't rush. You don't force. You don't need anyone to make you feel chosen because you've already chosen yourself. That's why energy matters more than words. You can't convince someone to like you. You can't make someone value you. But when you shift your energy, when you start showing up as the woman who knows she's valuable instead of the one trying to prove it, you change everything. Men don't respond to pressure. They respond to presence. They respond to a woman who is already enough, who's full of life, who's connected to her own joy, her own purpose, her own self. That's the kind of energy they can't ignore. So the next time you feel yourself overthinking, waiting, or needing something outside of yourself to feel okay, pause, breathe, shift, and ask yourself, what energy do I want to bring into this moment? Because trust me, your energy speaks louder than any words ever could. And when you learn to own it, you become unstoppable. Let's be real. Overanalyzing is exhausting. It drains your energy, steals your peace, and makes you question things that don't even need questioning. You get stuck in a loop, replaying conversations, dissecting text messages, and trying to predict someone else's thoughts like your happiness depends on it. But here's the truth, it never really does. The more you analyze, the more it hurts. You begin attaching significance to things that don't truly mean anything. A delayed text becomes a sign that maybe he's losing interest. A brief response leads you to wonder, did I say something wrong? A change in his tone spirals you into questioning, what did I do? Suddenly, you're caught up in your thoughts, trying to solve a problem that isn't even there. And while you're doing that, while you're stuck overthinking every little detail, you're not truly living. You're not being present. You're not enjoying the moment. You're simply waiting. Waiting for a sign, waiting for clarity, waiting for someone else's actions to give you permission to feel okay. But what if you didn't have to do all that? What if, instead of overanalyzing everything, you just let it be? Because here's the thing, the right things in life don't need to be analyzed to death, they just flow. They feel easy, they don't make you feel like you need to break down every interaction just to understand where you stand. When something is good for you, it doesn't bring anxiety, it brings peace. So why waste your time obsessing over what someone else thinks? Why waste your energy trying to control something that's not even in your control? The only thing you can control is yourself, your energy, your focus, your happiness. And when you shift your attention back to yourself, rather than analyzing someone else's behavior, everything changes. Imagine if you took all that energy, the energy you spend worrying about a text, a call, or a situation you can't control, and redirected it toward yourself, your passions, your goals, your joy. Imagine if instead of waiting for someone to validate your worth, you just decided you were already worthy, because you are. When you stop overanalyzing, you start trusting. You trust that if something is meant for you, it will be clear. You trust that the people who truly care about you won't leave you confused. You trust that no matter what happens, you'll be fine. And that trust, it's powerful. It makes you unshakable. It allows you to live in the moment instead of trying to control the future. It lets you enjoy people instead of trying to predict their next move. It makes you magnetic, because nothing is more attractive than a woman who is fully present, fully herself, and fully alive. So the next time you catch yourself spiraling, pause, take a breath, remind yourself that you don't need to have all the answers right now. Then go do something that makes you feel good, something that brings you back to yourself. Because life isn't meant to be overthought. It's meant to be lived. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you can master. It speaks louder than words, carries more weight than explanations, and has the ability to shift an entire dynamic without you having to lift a finger. Yet most people don't know how to use it. Instead, they react. They argue. They over-explain, trying to prove their worth, their feelings, their point. But here's the truth. Power isn't in the reaction, it's in the restraint. Think about the last time someone upset you. Maybe they ignored your message, said something disrespectful, or made you feel like an afterthought. What was your first instinct? If you're like most people, it was probably to react, to demand an answer, express frustration, or say something that would make them understand how they hurt you. But did it help? Or did it just make you feel like you were giving away your power? Here's the thing, reacting emotionally doesn't make people listen. When it doesn't make them respect you more, in fact, it gives them control. It shows them that they can affect you, that their actions dictate your emotions. And once they know that, they can push and pull you as they please. But when you don't react, when you choose silence over chasing, when you remove your energy instead of trying to prove your point, and that's when the dynamic changes. Silence forces people to sit with their own action. It makes them wonder, why isn't she responding? Why isn't she fighting for my attention? It creates space for them to feel the absence of your energy. And that absence is often more powerful than anything you could ever say. When you react impulsively, you give people an easy way out. You give them a response they can dismiss, a fight they can blame on you, an emotional reaction they can use to justify their behavior. But when you're silent, they're left with only themselves, their actions, and their choices. And that's what makes them reflect. This doesn't mean you suppress your emotions or ignore things that genuinely need to be addressed. It means you choose when and if something is worth your energy. It means recognizing that not everything deserves a response. Sometimes the best way to communicate your value is to say nothing at all, because silence isn't weakness. It's not avoidance, it's control. It's the ability to sit in your power without the need to beg, convince, or prove anything. And the moment you master that, you become untouchable. If you want to keep a man interested, you need to understand one fundamental truth. People value what they have to earn. When something is too easy, too available, or too predictable, it loses its excitement. It becomes routine, and in relationships, routine often kills attraction faster than anything else. Now let's be clear, this isn't about playing games or manipulating someone by deliberately ignoring them. It's about creating natural space. It's about having a life so full, so rich, and so engaging that you aren't just sitting around waiting for him to call, text, or plan the next date. It's about being a woman who isn't available all the time, not because she's trying to make him chase her, but because she has a life that doesn't revolve around him. Men are wired to crave a little challenge. Not in the sense that they want drama, but in the sense that they want to feel like they're earning your time and attention. When a woman is always available, always waiting, always accommodating, she unintentionally removes that challenge. And once a man feels like he doesn't have to put in effort, he stops putting in effort. Think about it. How do you feel when something is handed to you without any effort? When there's no anticipation, no excitement, no need to work for it. It's human nature to take for granted the things that require no effort to keep. And this applies to relationships too. Being unavailable sometimes means you don't drop everything just because he texts. It means you don't rearrange your entire schedule to fit his. It means that when he reaches out, you don't always jump to respond immediately, not because you're trying to be distant, but because you have a life that doesn't revolve around him. And that life, that independence, is what makes you attractive. That's what makes him want to be around you. When a woman is too available, she unknowingly sends the message, "You are the most important thing in my life, and I will always prioritize you over myself." And while that may sound romantic, it actually does the opposite of what you want. It makes a man feel like he doesn't have to do anything to keep your attention. There's no excitement, no intrigue, no pull that makes him want to pursue. But when you're occasionally unavailable, when you're busy living your life on your own terms, that's when he starts to take notice. He begins to wonder what you're doing. He starts to miss you. And that's what keeps the connection alive. Now, this isn't about making a man feel insecure or playing hard to get to the point where he feels rejected. It's about balance. It's about showing up when you genuinely want to, while also making sure you don't lose yourself in the process. It's about making sure you remain the priority in your own life instead of making him the priority. Because here's the truth. Men fall in love with women who make them feel something, and when you're always there, always available, always predictable, you take away that sense of excitement. You become comfortable. While comfort is great for long-term connection, attraction thrives on anticipation, on missing someone, on wanting to be around them. The irony is, when you stop making yourself so available, you don't push him away, you actually make him want you more. You create a space where he has to step up, put in the effort, and choose to be with you rather than just expecting you to always be there. So instead of always being the one to reach out, let him wonder about you sometimes. Instead of always being free when he asks to hang out, let him see that you have other things going on. And instead of responding instantly, take your time, not as a strategy, but because you're genuinely busy building a life you love. When you do this, something shifts. He starts appreciating your time more. He begins to value your presence because he sees that it's not something he can take for granted. He starts choosing you rather than just expecting you to be there. And that's what keeps him interested. Not games, not manipulation, just a woman who knows her worth, lives her life, and lets him earn his place in it. Negative feelings have a way of taking over if you let them. They creep in, slowly at first, doubt, anxiety, frustration, until suddenly they're in control. You replay conversations in your head, overanalyze situations that didn't turn out how you wanted, and get stuck in an emotional storm that feels impossible to escape. But what if the way out isn't through more thinking, more analyzing, or more effort? What if the real way to overcome negative feelings is through detachment? Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you push away your emotions or pretend that nothing bothers you. True detachment means stepping back and refusing to let your emotions control you. It's about creating enough distance between you and your feelings so you can observe them instead of being consumed by them. Think about how much energy you waste holding on to things that don't serve you, obsessing over what someone else thinks, reliving past mistakes, fearing outcomes that haven't even happened. All of this drains you, it keeps you stuck, and it gives power to things that shouldn't have any control over your life. But when you detach, everything changes. Instead of reacting impulsively, you pause. Instead of drowning in your emotions, you let them pass through you. Instead of attaching your happiness to external things like how someone treats you or whether things go your way, you find peace within yourself. The truth is, most of our suffering comes from attachment. attachment to people acting a certain way, attachment to outcomes turning out exactly how we imagined, attachment to the idea that things need to happen on our timeline. And when reality doesn't match those expectations, we feel pain. But pain isn't caused by the situation itself. It's caused by resisting what is. And detachment is the cure for that resistance. It lets you accept life as it comes without letting it control your emotions. It gives you freedom. Detachment doesn't mean disengagement. It means you show up fully, love deeply, and give your best. But you don't cling. You don't need things to go a certain way to feel okay. You don't tie your happiness to whether someone stays or leaves, whether an opportunity works out or falls through. You trust that no matter what happens, you'll be okay. And when you trust that, everything changes. You stop overreacting. You stop begging for answers. You stop holding on so tightly to things that aren't meant for you. You move with ease because you know that what's meant for you will always find you. Detachment gives you clarity. It removes the fog of overthinking and allows you to respond rather than react. It keeps you from making decisions out of fear or desperation. It helps you recognize when something isn't aligned with you so you can let it go instead of forcing it. When you practice detachment, you stop chasing things that drain you and start attracting things that are meant for you. And most importantly, you realize that peace was never in the outcome, it was always within you. At the end of the day, detachment isn't about being cold or indifferent, it's about being free. Free from the need to control, free from the weight of overanalyzing, free from the emotional roller coaster that comes with attachment to things outside of your control. It's about reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your power. When you learn to detach, you stop letting external circumstances dictate your emotional state. You stop giving people, situations, or outcomes the ability to define your happiness. Instead, you move through life with confidence.